When you hear the word mummy, you probably think of linen-wrapped pharaohs resting in golden sarcophagi in ancient Egypt. But what if I told you the world's oldest mummies, predating the earliest Egyptians by thousands of years, come from somewhere completely different? Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, our journey takes us through the vast and diverse world of Asian mummification. We're going to uncover a hidden history of preserving the dead that is as varied as the cultures that practiced it. From the smoke-filled huts of Southeast Asia and the icy steppes of Siberia, to the sacred mountains of Japan and the arid deserts of China. These aren't just preserved bodies. They are silent storytellers, and the science of studying them is revealing secrets of long-lost worlds. Our story begins not in a desert, but in the humid tropics of Southeast Asia, where recent groundbreaking research has completely rewritten the timeline of mummification. Archaeologists have found evidence of intentional preservation dating back as far as 12,000 to 14,000 years ago. That's thousands of years before the first known Egyptian mummies. So how did these pre-Neolithic hunter-gatherer societies preserve bodies in a hot, humid climate where decay is rapid? The method was as ingenious as it was effective: smoke drying. In regions including southern China, Vietnam, the Philippines, and Indonesia, ancient peoples developed complex rituals that involved placing the deceased over a low fire for an extended period, a process that could take months. This slow, continuous heating desiccated the body, preventing decay and repelling insects where natural preservation would be impossible. The science behind this discovery is fascinating. Researchers were initially puzzled by finding skeletons in a hyperflexed or tightly crouched position, a posture that's very difficult to achieve with a fresh corpse. Using techniques like X-ray diffraction and Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, they detected molecular changes in the bones consistent with prolonged exposure to low-intensity heat. The bones showed charring and soot, but not the kind of damage you'd see from cremation, proving this was a controlled, deliberate process. This practice served both practical and spiritual purposes. It allowed communities to keep the remains of their ancestors close, possibly even within their homes or in special rock shelters, maintaining a physical and spiritual connection with the deceased. It speaks to a deep reverence for the dead and a sophisticated understanding of preservation, long before the pharaohs. Incredibly, this tradition of smoke drying has survived to this day among certain indigenous groups in New Guinea, providing a living link to these ancient traditions. From the humid tropics, let's travel to the harsh, arid landscape of the Tarim Basin in present-day Xinjiang, China. Here, a remarkable discovery was made: hundreds of naturally preserved mummies dating back as far as 4,000 years. They weren't artificially mummified. Instead, the extremely dry and saline desert environment did all the work. What makes the Tarim mummies so captivating is their appearance. Many have light-colored hair and physical features that led early researchers to believe they were migrants from the West. They were found buried in unique boat-shaped coffins, often with woven textiles resembling European plaids, as well as foods like cheese and wheat, which were not native to the region. For decades, the leading theory was that these were Indo-European-speaking pastoralists who had migrated into the area. But recent genetic analysis has turned that assumption completely on its head. DNA extracted from the mummies revealed they were not newcomers at all. They were a genetically isolated local population, direct descendants of a Pleistocene-era group known as the ancient North Eurasians, a population thought to have largely vanished by the end of the last ice age. This makes the Tarim people a remarkable ghost population that survived in genetic isolation for thousands of years. But here's the twist: while they were genetically isolated, they were not culturally isolated. The presence of foreign goods proves they were well connected through trade. Proteomic analysis of their dental calculus, that's plaque on their teeth, confirmed they consumed dairy products from cattle, sheep, and goats, a practice they almost certainly learned from other cultures. The Tarim mummies are a powerful example of how genes and culture don't always move together. They were a unique community that embraced foreign technologies and foods while maintaining its distinct genetic identity. Now, staying in China, we move from the naturally preserved to what is arguably the most astonishing single mummy ever discovered. Xinjue, the Lady of Dai. The wife of a Han Dynasty nobleman, she died around 163 BCE and was unearthed in 1971 from a tomb near Changsha. When her body was found over 2,000 years after her death, it was so well preserved that her skin was still soft and moist, her limbs could be manipulated, and her own type A blood was still liquid in her veins. The preservation was so incredible, scientists were able to perform a detailed autopsy. This unprecedented preservation was the result of an elaborate, hermetically sealed tomb. Lady Dai was wrapped in 20 layers of fine silk and lay in the innermost of 4 nesting coffins. The entire tomb pit was packed with 5 tons of moisture-absorbing charcoal and sealed with a thick layer of clay, creating an environment completely devoid of oxygen and bacteria. The coffin also contained a mysterious, slightly acidic liquid containing magnesium, which may have further inhibited decay. The autopsy revealed a wealth of information about her life. She was overweight, suffered from high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and had a fused spinal disc that would have caused her severe pain. Her last meal, eaten just before she died of a massive heart attack, was a serving of melon, evidenced by the 138 melon seeds found in her stomach. Her tomb was a treasure trove of over 1,400 artifacts reflecting her luxurious life, including exquisite lacquerware, silk garments, and wooden figurines of her servants. A magnificent T-shaped silk banner, draped over her coffin, is a masterpiece of early Chinese art, depicting scenes of the underworld, the earthly realm, and the heavens, designed to guide her soul in the afterlife. Our next stop is in the mountainous regions of northern Japan, to witness a unique and truly austere form of mummification, known as sokushinbutsu. This was not a process performed on the dead, but a long and arduous journey of self-mummification undertaken by living Buddhist monks of the Shingon sect. The goal was to achieve enlightenment and become a living Buddha, a spiritual act of ultimate devotion. The process, which could take over a decade, was a testament to extreme asceticism. It is believed that between the 11th and 20th centuries, only around 20 monks successfully achieved this state. The journey was a multi-stage process of intense discipline. First, for 1,000 days, the monk followed a tree-eating diet, consuming only nuts, seeds, berries, pine needles, and tree bark foraged from the mountains. This, combined with rigorous activity, stripped the body of all fat. In the next 1,000-day phase, the diet became even more restrictive, consisting of only bark and roots. During this time, the monk would drink a tea made from the toxic sap of the urushi tree. This poisonous tea induced vomiting and a rapid loss of bodily fluids, further dehydrating the body and, crucially, making it poisonous to maggots and insects after death. In the final stage, the emaciated monk was placed in a small, custom-built stone tomb, barely large enough for them to sit in the lotus position. A small tube provided air, and the monk had a bell to ring each day to signal they were still alive. When the bell stopped ringing, the tube was removed, and the tomb was sealed for a final 1,000 days. After this period, if the body was successfully preserved, the monk was revered as a sokushinbutsu, a living Buddha. While modern CT scans suggest some artificial means may have been used after death in some cases, the incredible devotion and unique preparatory diet of these monks represent a fascinating intersection of faith and physiology. The diverse tapestry of Asian mummification continues in the Philippines and Korea. In the mountains of the northern Philippines, the Ibaloi people practiced a form of mummification that resulted in the fire mummies of Kabayan, dating as far back as 2000 BCE. Reserved for the elite, the process began shortly before death, with the individual ingesting a highly salty drink to start dehydration. After death, the body was washed and set in a seated position over a smoldering fire. Tobacco smoke was blown into the mouth to dry the internal organs, and the body was periodically rubbed with herbs. This process was so effective that it preserved not just skin, but also intricate tattoos, still visible today. For the Ibaloi people, these mummies, known as miking, are the sacred remains of their ancestors. Finally, in South Korea, archaeologists have discovered remarkably well-preserved mummies from the Joseon dynasty. But these were not intentional. They were the accidental result of unique burial customs. During this period, the upper classes were often buried in a hogwakmoya, a tomb constructed with a lime soil mixture. The coffin was encased in a mixture of lime, sand, and clay, which hardened to create a perfect seal that cut the body off from air and water. The heat generated by the hardening lime also killed bacteria. These accidental mummies have provided scientists with a treasure trove of information about diet, disease, and even the cause of death, such as the tragic discovery of a 440-year-old mummy of a woman who was found with a fetus in her womb. From the ancient hunter-gatherers of Southeast Asia to the devout monks of Japan, the practice of mummification in Asia is a powerful testament to the universal human desire to transcend death and maintain a connection with our ancestors. These mummies are more than just preserved bodies. They are a bridge to ancient worlds, offering invaluable insights into the rich tapestry of human culture, belief, and history across this vast continent. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.